What's up, guys? It's John at National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into tonight's games as far as the NBA schedule goes. Tomorrow, I'm not going to lie, we have the group for obviously the two awesome football games, but we also have a very lengthy college schedule. But tonight, we have a good NBA schedule. And it's rare that I just play every game for the NBA. I'll usually do it if I like at least 6 or 7 of them, because then I'll just wind up playing the other two. Like tonight we have 9. So we're going to do that tonight. We're going to play every game. First game, Pelicans Magic. And we could start putting these in categories. I would put this game under the category of your good old-fashioned trap here. Even if the entire starting lineup was injured for the Pelicans, I don't see them justifying a 1.5 point spread here. It makes no sense to me. And it's also the first game in the schedule. You know, Vegas is very psychological, so a lot of people are going to have parlays that include the first game in the schedule because Vegas knows people can't wait the 30 minutes. So, to me, that'll be a great parlay killer just to start off the night. Pelicans do not need the win. And, again, they got to make Paolo look good. You know, this team can't be the worst team in the league. That's why a while back when they were kind of trailing with the Rockets and they were like the Bobcats and they were really doing that bad, I said they're going to do better than them. They're going to do better than the Pistons, in my opinion, because they need to show that, or the Hornets, not the Bobcats. They need to show that Paolo is enough. You know, that this guy is enough to make this team a winning team if they get somebody. So I think they're going to tell a story tonight and make the Magic look good. I was back and forth on this Knicks-Hawks one a couple times. The Hawks have not been great against the spread. They just came off an impressive win. I think they need the win more than the Knicks. But then when you get down to the public action, the public action is definitely going to be on the Knicks here, I think. Maybe not. Maybe people are still thinking, like, for example, the Knicks, the Blazers, the Wizards. There are certain teams that I think are better than the public thinks they are. So maybe it's just me thinking the Knicks are better, and that's why they're going to get more public action. But maybe they don't. At the end of the day, you see the Hawks took the first one, the Knicks took the second, and I think the Hawks are going to take this one. I do. I think they're going to take this one because I think they want these two to be pretty evenly matched. You know, these are going to be two, probably a playoff and a play-in team. Don't forget, these could be the two teams playing for that play-in spot. So I think they're going to have it go relatively back and forth, and I think the Hawks get to get their first home victory over the Knicks here. Now, I wish it was in New York because then we got that Trae Young in New York narrative, which they love to spin. But I'll take, again, I like the Hawks here. Let's buy it down to 2, so it's not 2.5, just 2 even. Warriors, Cavs. This one seems like they are begging us to take the Warriors because I remember seeing it with, I think it was about 10 last night, maybe even 9.5. And sure enough, it's moved even more. So that makes us question, is it going to be a clip or are they just begging us to take the Warriors? I think it could be both. I'll buy this one down to 11 even. They love that number. 11 and 13 are two numbers they just seem to love. But I like the Cavaliers minus 11. So I'll buy that half point, pay a little bit of juice, just because that line did move a lot. This one, not much to explain. Dallas, I'll take +2 all day. The reason for this is again, they're both bad against the spread, but Dallas would be at 33% here with a loss against the spread. Just not going to hold. You know, low 30s has happened. It's just, you're talking about the literal worst team in the league, and that, I mean, as far as against the spreads, if you're in the low 30s. And again, it doesn't hold. Like, they can't keep losing. They would drop below that even. So I think for it to balance out, Dallas gets this cover, so I'll take them +2. In this game here, I do like the Clippers. Again, I think they need to give them certain wins. I had them beating the Jazz. They didn't. And I think the Spurs are a casualty team. Unlike the Magic, who I think actually they might give some kind of flirt with a play-in where they're not, trust me, they're not going to get there. But with the East, they're not as deep as the West. They could flirt them, you know, with 3-4 games back. As far as the Spurs, that just can't happen. You got teams like the Thunder and the Blazers that are 8 games ahead of them, and Lakers, you know. So I think the Spurs are a casualty team, and this is a perfect casualty game. 7 points, maybe enough people are on San Antonio at home. And I think they're going to tell the polarizing story of the Clippers with their stars and without their stars. So they probably win this one by double digits. Pacers, Nuggets. Here's another interesting one because we just took the Nuggets it was plus 10, and we took the Wolves, and they did cover. And I think the logic's going to be, for most of the consensus, if the Wolves covered it, the Pacers will cover it. I'm just guessing. It's not Nuggets. I don't always have the best read on, but I do think that 9 is a little steep for a 500 team, and people aren't going to be wanting to lay 9 points. So I do like Denver minus the 9 here. What I don't like is I have a lot of home teams winning. I just don't get a lot of these spreads. So what we're going to do is, and I've done this before, and it's worked out very well, so we're going to try it again. Since this one I have as basically a 50-50 game, we are going to go with the Knicks to cover, okay? And in this case, I'll buy it up to 3 points, so Knicks plus 3. And the reason I'm doing that is because right now I have, it could be superstitious, you can call it whatever you want, but right now we're like 7 games in, and I have every home team covering. Magic, Cavs, Mavs. We had the Clippers, Nuggets, and it's about to be the Jazz. So we're gonna go with the Knicks, okay? Just to, because that one I'm kind of the most 50-50 on. Now this one, the reason I love the Jazz is who the hell is taking the Nets to lose? I don't see who's taking the Jazz minus 5.5 when you got a better team playing you and nobody's hurt on their team. It makes absolutely no sense to me. This reminds me of the Magic game, where it just seems like a trap game. And you could say, yeah, they're missing Katie. They still have Simmons. They still have Kyrie. They still have a much, much better team than Utah. So I could see this being like -2 because Kyrie's out or something, or because Katie's out. But this makes no sense to me. And again, I think they show how bad they are without their stars. So I love Utah here. Probably of all the games, that's one of my favorites, just because of how obvious of a trap it seems like. Now we got Lakers. Grizz are laying 6. And I think these are going to be the games that the Lakers have to win. Okay, now I'm not saying that it's going to happen every time. They got no Anthony Davis. They theoretically should get washed. And we could look at how they played. This is their first game. I'll go with the Lakers here because I'll take them at the 6, because these are the type of games they're going to have to win. Because no, everyone's going to take them against the Pistons. Everyone's going to take them against the Thunder, against the Kings even. Against the Grizzlies, against the Magic. Not Magic. I was thinking of Luka Magic. Against the Mavericks. Against even like the Sixers. Any team that's considered an above average team, I don't think people are going to be pounding the Lakers. So in this game, I think more people will be on the Grizzlies because they're a much better team. People understand that. And I like the Lakers to cover that one. And here, I absolutely love the Thunder to cover. They're another team, I've been saying it, along with the Blazers. There's a guy I used to comment on here a lot. Well, he was on my old channel, actually, and it got ripped, so maybe he hasn't found the new one yet. But he'd always talk about, don't sleep on the Thunder. And he was a big believer in the Thunder, and he always brought up good points. Now, this game, the reason I do like the Thunder to cover is I'm not sleeping on the Thunder. I think them and the Blazers, I think the Blazers will finish with a better record. But just like the Wizards and the Knicks in the East, I think they're basically that of the West. Especially if Chet didn't get hurt, they probably would have had a really good year. But you could see people like SGA, people like Dort. And it's not just them either. The culture, when I watch them play, they just play this up-tempo kind of pace. And you can tell that they're really trying to push these guys. And especially, like I said, once Chet comes back. So this year, I think they're going to get around probably like 3-4 below 500, but not much. Whereas the Kings, I think they're pretenders. I won't lie, Fox is good. They're good when they have Sabonis and they could be believable. But in a deep West, I just don't buy the Kings. So this is a great game for a possible upset, but I do think the Thunder just cover. And since I did go into, again, I'll just go into it all again. The only one that I decided to change in lifetime, which I do all the time, by the way, is this one. We're going to go with the Knicks with the cover, and I'll buy it up to 3. So we're going to get the Knicks, and we're going to be getting 3 points. Still loving the Magic because I just don't understand that 1.5. Still loving the Cavs, but I will buy it down to 11. Mavericks might be my favorite along with the Magic. I like the Mavericks a lot here just because of the metric. And it puts both teams at 25 and 22. You know how they love to do that. Sticking with the Clippers, -7. Nuggets, -9. Utah, -5.5 is fine. Again, if you want to buy it down to 5, you can. I'll leave that one at 5.5, though. I think if they win, they'll win by a lot. I am going to go with the Lakers here at home, plus the 6. And then we're going to get the Thunder plus 5.5. Again, if you want to buy it at 6, you can. So we're playing every game. Now, everyone's going to be a leg 1 except Dallas. Dallas is actually going to be a leg 3, okay? Because we have some leg 2's open that I want to close out. So we will go ahead and make that a leg 3, which I have to find. There we go. We had Nebraska. Ohio State did not go over the other day for our leg 2. So we go Dallas, covers, Miami, just in case people are confused. And that's going to be a leg 3 for 4 units. And again, the whole goal is just to get this W, and then we hit 33% on this sequence, but still profited 1 unit. And if we don't, it's 7 units lost, which again, we can certainly sustain with how many sequences we've closed. So I just wanted to go into that now. While I'm here, these are my college plays. It's not a lot of them. I like Ball State to cover Kent State. Simple metrics, nothing fancy. I can't name a guy on either team, but I like that cover. Make sure it's matched up with ESPN, or you're getting a half point better, and you'll be good. I like Toledo and Buffalo to go under. That's college basketball as well. I made it a leg 2 because the Toledo Rockets just can't continue at this pace on the over. Them and UAB and a few other teams, they just can't. So I like it enough to put it as a leg 2, and I think it goes under. Kent State, Ball State over. So we're actually got a double dip here on Kent State and Ball State, and I have the over as a leg 2. Reason being, Kent State on the over is abysmal. They're not going to continue at that rate. And that was it. There was not a lot of college basketball games. It was just those 3, and it's really 2 because it's the Toledo game, and then we got the Ball State game. There's a ton. I mean, I'm talking 15 games or more tomorrow, including football. So that's why I figured we'd go a little more NBA heavy tonight. I think we close out a good bit of sequences. And again, they're all going to be leg 1s except Dallas covers Miami. I do think that the Mavericks covering the Heat just makes sense. So as you can see, that one's our leg 3. Dallas covers Miami, and I think that one comes through. So we do have more home teams winning, but I just changed the Knicks because I didn't like having like 8 out of the 9 home teams cover. There are people who pick just on those grounds. They'll just pick all the home teams, all the away teams, all the favorites, all the dogs, whatever. And Vegas knows this. So I try and, it sounds funny, but I try and make it where my combination of picks is going to be much different than the general public's. And I think it always is, and that's why we do well. But yeah, so Mavericks will be a leg 3. I know people have been asking me, like, hey, I'm looking for leg 2s and stuff. We do have open sequences. I just don't want to rush them. But if you were to ask me which one I like the most as a leg 2, I would tell you outside of the Mavericks as the leg 3. I like the Jazz a lot as a leg 2. I think they should cover that. And I am fairly confident in the Cavs just because of how much they're moving the line. I would just get it close to 11. You know, if it's moved to 12 or 13 by the time it's tipped off and you're not sure, it could be a clip. But I just think they want people to take the Warriors in this game and show how they suck on the road. So I know a lot of people like them because they'll put them at 23 and 23, but I just try and look at those numbers more for, like, again, the Heat Mavs, where both teams would be the same. Or it's interesting, Nuggets, Pacers. I notice 32, 23, 23. It's weird how the numbers are like all, you know, they have like the same numbers. Even the one under that, Nets, 27, 17, 24, 24. So I could look into that and pick on those merits, but I think we've done a lot better picking narratives and picking against the traps than trying to play the numbers. So as far as, like geometry and stuff like that. So that's who we're going to go with. I didn't want this to be long-winded. I just want everyone to know exactly what leg each one was. And to be honest, we're playing 12 games total. 11 games, 12 plays, and since one's a leg 3, and a couple are leg 2s, I definitely wanted to make sure everybody had the right picks here. So take care, everybody, and happy earnings.